What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. Um, we have a pre-agreement um, in Israel and Gaza, ceasefire agreement. Um, Still a lot of questions, but let's talk about it and kind of get out the details and then my opinion about it. How I think this is going to go, or how I'm hope it's going to go, but worried it's going to go. So thank you very much for joining me. If you are new here, welcome to Clear Talk. If you would like to check out more videos from the channel, please do so. Consider subscribing, like, share, all that good stuff. If you want to check out videos from my other channels as well, that would be amazing. Drummer, play, puzzling. Subscribe to those as well. Like, share, all that good stuff. I do tend to stutter some, so I apologize. Because any support, anything you do helps, with the algorithm for the videos, getting them in front of people, and that's what we need more of. Thank you very much. If you want to, there's some support links there as well. If you want to support like more ongoing support or one-time thing, if you want to join JMD Nation, that's amazing. Any support you give is very much appreciated, and I thank you very much. If you're returning, you're freaking amazing. Thank you. Welcome back to Clear Talk. Let's we're gonna dive into this. First, I want to thank you. I had I talked about this the other day. I had my kids and stuff were on fall break and stuff last week. I didn't get to much. I tried to get back into it the other day. Trying to get caught up on stuff. Yesterday, I did not do a video. You may have noticed that. That's because I had some technical issues going on between my internet and my computer. I had an update issue, stuff like that, some things like around there. I wound up having to completely reset my computer. Well, I didn't have to, but I did. I figured out afterwards that I probably shouldn't have, or I could have. Let's just say the reset was supposed to fix an issue, or it was supposedly was going to fix an issue that I was having. And if you understand with a reset of your computer, that like completely deletes all of your programs, or uninstalls the programs. I mean, the files and stuff are still there, but it just completely removes all the programs and then reinstalls Windows. And so that was supposed to clean the issue up that I was having with my computer updating a particular update, and it was not wanting to do it. And even after I reset, it still did not freaking work. I was frustrated and annoyed. I wound up eventually just downloading the update as like the whole Windows installation. And when I actually went through with that, it actually wound up fixing everything. But unfortunately, I had to like reinstall programs and stuff. Luckily, I had certain things set up right and saved down right to where when I got to installing stuff back, everything kind of went back for the most part normal. Even my video program, this whole thing here went back. I only had a few little things I had to adjust. So I was able to get everything back together fast enough to be able to do videos today. And that's great. The internet thing I figured out. I kind of worked that out too. Got that figured out. So we're back on board. Is everything installed back? No, not everything's installed back. But the most crucial stuff that I use kind of every day is going. So, okay. Enough of that, though. Thank you. That was the reason why yesterday I did not do a video. But we're back on it today. So we're going to, and this ceasefire deal went through late yesterday, or the kind of beginnings of it anyways, went through and got partially everybody's taking, like, there's this excitement going on, and there's people taking all this credit for something that, and acting like it's just completely finished. Trump does this all the time. He acts like, with his whole, 7 wars that he's claims all the time that he has solved, when he hasn't solved any of them. He thinks that he's solved them, or he pretends like they're solved, but they're still ongoing issues with each one of them. And it's just, he takes the credit, goes with it as if everything's peaceful and they're all walking around, with rainbows and candy canes and singing Kumbaya, but it's not the case. But anyways, so this is, of course, his number 8 that he claims already has been solved and good, and we're ready, and everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be great, and everything's going to go exactly the way the plan lays out. So what actually happened? Okay. What was going on was that you had Trump and Israel, but came up with a 20-point deal, peace deal, ceasefire deal that they presented to Hamas. Okay, this is something that has happened multiple times. Well, maybe not the 20-point plan, but a peace ceasefire agreement has been placed to Hamas several times. And we often had either Hamas not completely agree to certain things, or Israel just completely go against it, or figure out ways to break it down. Or even if Hamas did agree to it, then when it got back to Israel, they would not agree to the finishing lines of it or whatever. They would bomb areas. They would, every time a ceasefire was supposed to kind of even be started or engaged, or peace deals were supposed to happen, they like ramp up their bombing and stuff within Gaza. I mean, this is something that's been ongoing consistently over and over and over again. And why suddenly here recently, it seems that Trump is had enough of it, or had enough of Israel, or had enough of Netanyahu, or had enough of them just doing things and kind of asking for, forgiveness later, which seems to have been like the case with the Qatar attack. I think that particular attack may have been the tipping point, I think, for U.S. strategy or like just willingness to allow what they have allowed at this point. I think that was kind of the tipping point. So we had this deal be pressed. Of course, Trump was pressing Israel. They were pressing Hamas. Hamas has apparently agreed to the first phase. All right. The first phase is a release of all the hostages. There are 48 in all right now, 28 of which are deceased bodies. They're dead. And then 20 who are alive. So they're supposed to release those within 72 hours, which this could be, I'm guessing they're really arguing 72 like business hours, that kind of idea. Because Trump keeps stating anywhere from Monday to Tuesday, somewhere between Monday and Tuesday, they should be released. So the weekend apparently doesn't really count in that 72 hours. And then also Israel is supposed to release Palestinian prisoners. They're supposed to release about 250 Palestinian prisoners that are serving life sentences, and 1,700 Gazans that have been detained since October 2023. So that's the exchange of prisoners versus hostages and all that stuff. Then we have, of course, aid is supposed to be restored back to Gaza. The Rafah crossing is supposed to open back up. And then also the Israeli military is supposed to back up to the first phase line of agreement, which is approximately around 70% of the Gaza Strip opened back up. For families to be able to go back to their areas or to, whatever. And then, of course, negotiations will probably continue for the second phase, or will be continuing through this phase to agree on the second phase to continue on, which is where Israel will once again back up a little bit more into out of the Strip. It's really only maybe 5-10% more. The secondary phase line is not very much different from the first one, in my opinion, but whatever. And then this is like a multi-phase thing. It's supposed to be like 4 phases in all, where Israel is supposed to continuously back out. Hamas is supposed to, of course, well, that's also in the first phase. Hamas is supposed to basically demilitarize, lay down their arms, and of course work to well, that's the part of the phase 2. They're supposed to lay down arms and actually be given amnesty. What Hamas members are left are supposed to be even given amnesty. So, they would be good. No hostility towards them or against them, or, which is kind of an odd thing. And I feel like is one of the things that Israel will ultimately argue that they do not agree with, and will probably use it as excuse to not to agree to the second phase, which we will get to. So yes, this first phase is I don't know exactly how long this first phase is supposed to be enacted for, because the immediate release, 72 hours, or like I said, by Monday or Tuesday, the prisoners, which is the argument, one of the arguments that Israel has had all along, is that they were trying to get all the hostages back. This is something that could have been done months ago. Could have been done when the first ceasefire happened, when Trump first came into office. It could have already been handled. He could have, if Trump would have even just pressed Israel then, and to go on with the phase then, and not allow them to just break the ceasefire deal and go right back to bombing. We could have already had all these hostages out. There'd have been a whole lot more, a whole lot of people that would have not been killed, that would have been, still be alive. The continuation of humanitarian aid, and people, famine and everything else that has happened since, or continued to happen since. None of this would have happened. This could have all been solved months ago. It could have been solved even before Trump. It could have been solved with Biden. This could have been solved a long time ago. But needless to say, but we are back here. We are here finally. It seems that people are a little bit more positive, a little bit more enthusiastic that this will continue. But I am honestly and admittedly very skeptical, because Israel is a part of it. And as always, and every single time, they have found a way to break deals over and over and over again. Even as this deal was being talked about and being discussed, or even since these, official acceptance from Hamas, now the issue is that the proposal has to go back to Israel and has to be signed off by the War Cabinet of Israel, which we know includes a whole lot of even further right members than even Netanyahu, Smotrich being one of them, who has already come out saying that he would not sign and agree to a phase 2. He said that once the hostages are released, he wants to go back in and start, right back at the bombing to eradicate Hamas, which is the other part of the Israeli objective, is to eradicate Hamas. This deal and any previous deal to this deal has not allowed for that. Clearly, there's a reason why that's not allowed. But this agreement would allow for Hamas, like I already said, to lay down arms and have actual amnesty, protection, that they would not be gone after. which is completely goes against and would be an admission by Israel that they were not successful in this whole plan. And this whole 2 years that they have, on this mission, they ultimately have not been successful in doing what they said that they were going to do. And then also the admission here is even on the United States, that for those who were saying that, it's not on the United States to do it, it's Israel, they've got to make the decision. Israel, U.S. can't control Israel. We don't have it. And I've been saying all along, along with a lot of people in my area, in my thought, that all it would take was the U.S. to say stop. Period. Stop. And what has happened right now? This is an admission that yes, we certainly can. I mean, Trump himself is just high on the hill right now that this is his deal, and he's the one that brokered this, and all he did was tell him to stop, basically. Clear. It was all in the U.S. all along. That's the reason why I said that this could have happened months ago. And all it would have taken was Trump to put pressure on them the first time, and it wouldn't have happened. Now the question is, will he actually stay to it and keep the pressure on Netanyahu and Israel government, the war cabinet, to actually continue with the phases and continue with the agreement? Or will he just let them all willy-nilly go right back to bombing and break the agreement, and we are right back where we were just a couple of days ago? Because we already have seen that even in the this period where Hamas has signed off on the agreement and it's gone back to the Israeli war cabinet over the last night, Israel once again ramped up the explosions and bombings in central Gaza, in Gaza City. I mean, even though there were videos coming out of Palestinians all throughout Gaza, particularly in the safe haven, where the safe haven, so to speak, even though those have been bombed recently as well, just like they've been doing all along. They were celebrating in the streets, and with music and dancing and everything because of an agreement being made and Hamas agreeing to it, and there being a potential for a full-on ceasefire deal being had. There was still bombings going on, and they will continue until Israel, the war cabinet, agrees or makes an agreement and actually sends, the information or to the stop order for the military to stop, which could take, 24, 40 hours or more or whatever before even that happens. So it will continue. The IDF has warned the people of Gaza, do not try to attempt to go back to Gaza City right now, because that is considered a war, a military operation area, and they will be met with conflict. And why is that? Because this deal is only partially agreed on. Once again, so it's not complete, it's not finished. We have to see what happens by the end of the day or tomorrow, whether or not the war cabinet will agree upon it. Ones like Smotrich and stuff will actually sign off on it, or will they just continue to do what they've done in the past and disagree with it, not sign off on it, and we ultimately don't get a ceasefire? Now, everybody seems to feel that there's enough pressure right now that they will go through with it because of the pressure that they have domestically in Israel from all the families and stuff who have been, protesting, along with other members of the public that have been protesting to get hostages back. And the protests have been growing majorly over the past weeks and months. And so there's a lot of pressure on all of them to at least accept a deal to get the hostages back. Now, we've talked about that before as well, that, that's all even the citizens of Israel want is the hostages back. They don't really care about any of the rest of it. They, have seemed to be perfectly okay with the Gaza Strip being destroyed. They just want the hostages back. Now, there has, I think, some growing sentiment that even the bombing and killing has gone overboard from some of the Israeli public. But it's not anywhere to the degree of even the United States, much less the rest of the world. But yeah, that's the current situation right now. We have a agreement, basically. Hamas has agreed. It's going back to Israel for the war cabinet to agree on. And then the direction has to be sent to the IDF to stop the hostilities, to start their withdrawal. Hamas has to start gathering up the 48 remaining, 20 alive, 28 that are deceased. And that's another issue, is that they are even requesting for external assistance in that, because some of the deceased are in areas like Gaza City, which is still a hostile area, to try to get those bodies back to release. Now, there's another issue, is whether or not Israel is going to, or the IDF is going to in any way, cause an issue with even Hamas retrieving the deceased bodies in certain areas. That's left to know. But then once they do that and the bodies are released, the Israel was supposed to start releasing. I'm not sure if it's after or like simultaneously, the 250 and the 1,700 detained. And then, like I said, immediately aid is supposed to be restored to Gaza. The flow of it through the Rafah crossing to try to get relief. And then the idea is then on negotiations and moving forward to the phase 2, from my understanding. And whether or not that will go on. And that's something that's yet to be seen. But as far as all the role players in this, it was you had a lot of mediators involved, with Qatar to Egypt, Turkey, of course, the United States. A lot of Arab nations have been included in this, which Trump has, when he went to social media, everything seems to go to social media. It's so annoying. All our major announcements half the time seem to be done on True Social instead of actually in person. But Trump praised, the involvement of the mediators. He plans to travel to Egypt in the coming days. I think Witkoff and Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, were supposed to go, I think, today to Israel. Trump is supposed to go within the coming days to Israel and Egypt to participate in this signing ceremonies. Yeah, I mean, the deal, does not yet resolve deeper issues, like Hamas's future role or the possibility of a two-state solution. Because if they do go on with their other phases, you still have the governance issue of Gaza and how much Gazans will be able to contribute to that or have any influence or effect on that. With the coalition that's supposed to be developed and Trump leading it, that's still a big question mark, and I think that's a big question mark reason why Hamas has not agreed to anything other than the first phase. And of course, Israel is gung ho on no two-state solution still to this day. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. So we'll see in the coming days what transpires. I'm pretty sure that while we wait for the approval, the signing from Israel's war cabinet and their government, that hostilities will continue as far as the IDF continuing to bomb certain areas, because they're going to heighten that up to try to get to, to destroy and potentially take out as many so-called Hamas members as they can, or installations, whatever, while there will be a continuation of people killed. I mean, even this past weekend, there was over 100 Palestinians that were killed. And I do foresee the pressure being enough that the war cabinet will probably agree to this first phase, because I think there's enough pressure just from the Israeli public alone. Not to mention, there's been increased pressure by international, partners, countries and stuff, putting sanctions and stuff in place, which is probably kind of minor in the eyes of Israel. But ultimately, they make a big deal about it as if it's like just completely crippling them. But it's in all honesty, it probably doesn't affect them that much, because most of their assistance is given by us. I do think they will agree to this the first phase. I think that they will make sure that all hostages are returned. You'll see ceremonies and a whole lot of stuff around that for a few days. And then ultimately, I am afraid to say that I think Israel will go back on the agreement. I'm just very skeptical that they will continue, because history has shown over and over again where they ultimately go back on their agreements, on their so-called agreements, because they are hell-bent on destroying Hamas. And in their eyes, that is all Palestinians, if we're being honest. So it would take a whole lot of pressure by the United States to keep them in check, to keep them going forward in this phases. And it's yet to be seen whether the United States is willing to actually continue to apply that pressure. We haven't before. I mean, to even my surprise, in some degree, that we have allowed it to go this far. But yet, it ultimately comes down to whether or not Trump and his regime is genuine enough to, and I don't know, maybe even humiliated enough is what it would have to take by this whole all of this, the policy, the procedure, the Israeli operations and everything. I mean, I don't know. But as things come in, as things happen, If anything major happens, if whether it is a continuation into the next phase or a complete retraction from Israel, as I unfortunately suspect, I will be right here to announce it, talk about it, and discuss it. Let me know what you think about the whole deal. And until next time, peace, clear talk with love. I'm out.